My name is Desmond Miles. I'm a prisoner of war. A war I never knew existed, waged by two groups I never thought were real. Templars and Assassins. The Animus showed me the truth. The things I've seen, the things I've been. 1,000 years of history flowing through my veins, brought to life by this machine. They're using me to search for something. Call it the Apple. It's an artifact, one of many so-called pieces of Eden. The Templars collect them. It's how they stay in power. And if the Templars get their hands on another one, everything will change. They want to make us all their slaves. When they first brought me here, I was afraid of what would happen if I tried to fight back. Now? Now I'm afraid of what will happen if I don't. But I can't do it alone. And maybe I don't have to. I met someone. Her name is Lucy. I think she's on my side. She's gone now. She's taken away by that bastard Warren Vidic and his Templar masters. I don't know what will happen to her, or what'll happen to me. All I know is I need to get out of here. And I need to do it soon. My name is Desmond Miles. And this is my story.
We have to go.
Lucy, where have you been? Why did they...
Now! Get in.
What's with the blood? Are you okay?
Look, we have maybe 10 minutes, maybe, before they figure out what I've done. If we're not out of here and on the road before then...
Wait, we're leaving?
Desmond, I promise I'll answer all of your questions. Later. But right now, I need you to just shut up and do what I say. So please, get in the Animus.
All right.
Oh, my love. Mi dispiace. I was at the bank when they told me. Did I miss it? Am I too late? Give him here.
Giovanni.
My love, it will be all right. Tu sei un uditore. Sei un combattente. Perciò, combatti. Listen to him. A fine set of lungs.
And what shall we call him, my love?
Ezio. Ezio Auditore da Firenze.
Get up. Let's go.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna need a second.
There isn't time, Desmond. We have to leave.
Really getting out of here, huh? Sturgo's got some fucked up interior decorators.
Stay close.
Hey!
Hey! You're not supposed to be up here! Open this door! I'm calling it in. We have a breach in the research wing. I repeat, there's been a breach in the research
Come
wing.
on, Desmond, let's
Requesting
go.
backup from all...
Fancy. Wait,
There they are! Don't let them get away! Holy shit!
Hey, over here.
Look at this place. What about the cameras?
I rigged them to loophole footage. How do you think I managed to hide all your nighttime snooping from Abstergo?
You're good.
So I've been told. But they're on to us now. We need to hurry. Careful. We need to get to that elevator on the other side of the room. Follow my lead, but keep an eye out for security. I'd rather avoid a fight. Let me handle this, Desmond. I thought this card would work. It must be on a separate system, and I don't have the code.
Wait. Shit. Come on.
How did you do that?
I don't know.
Let's go. It's always something.
What was that in the Animus? Subject 16? Ezio, Audi something?
I think we've been wrong all along. That's why we need to get out of here. Vidic and the Templars, they're only part of the problem.
What do you mean?
I'll explain when we get there.
Get where?
Come sign me little punk ass.
Get in.
You're joking.
It's for your own protection.
Oh, man.
We're almost there.
Thanks for that. It was great. Shoved in the trunk, bouncing around. Loved
This
it.
way.
So, gonna tell me what's going on now?
There was a reason for the escape, Desmond.
Figures.
We need your help.
For what? Another treasure hunt through time?
Abstergo's gonna replace their Apple of Eden. The map your ancestor found guarantees it. The other assassins, they'll do what they can, where they can, but
What? What is it?
we're losing this war, Desmond. The Templars are too powerful, and every day, more of us die.
I still don't see how I fit into things.
We're going to train you. Turn you into one of us.
What? No. No, you've seen me in action. I'm no good at this, and even if I was, it would take months. Years.
No, not with the Animus. Not with the bleeding effect.
But I'm just one guy.
Sometimes, that's all you need.
So that's why you found him. My ancestor. What was his name? Ezio?
If you can follow in his footsteps, you'll learn everything he did, just like he did. Years of training, absorbed in a matter of days.
You broke me out of Abstergo and brought me here just to make me an assassin?
Look, there's more to it than that, but it'll have to wait. Trust me, okay?
All right, I'm in. Tell me what you need.
Really? You're sure?
I thought you'd be happy about this.
Sorry, I'm just a little surprised. I spent the whole ride over here figuring out how I was gonna convince you to do this.
Save it. After what those Templar bastards put me through, I'm ready, willing, and able.
Thank you.
Lucy! You made it! God, it's been so long. 7 years, can you believe it?
Indeed. Welcome back. Ah, so this must be the infamous Subject 17. Desmond Miles, was it?
Who are you?
I'm sorry, where are my manners? I'm Sean Hastings. This is Rebecca Crane.
Nice to meet you, Desmond.
Right, well, it's been lovely chatting, but if you don't mind, Desmond, it's best we get straight to work. Time is precious. Doubly so these days.
We've got everything set up and ready, Lucy. Just say the word and we'll get going.
Here, I brought you something. A parting gift from Abstergo.
Whoa! The memory core! This is amazing. With their data, things are gonna go a lot faster. I'll get to work on merging the code.
What's all this stuff for?
This stuff, Desmond. Oh, this stuff is nothing special, really, this stuff. It's just the stuff that keeps our entire operation from falling apart, really. It requires a great deal of concentration to keep it all moving, so you'll forgive me if I don't have time to play meet and greet.
Sean's in charge of maintaining our knowledge archives. It's like a digital library. He'll be riding shotgun with me while you're in the Animus. So if you come across anything of note, people, places, events, etc., he'll create database entries you can consult for additional information.
Yeah, it's not just databases, though. I also provide tactical support for the other assassins. You know, Desmond, the ones who are out there, actually doing stuff, risking their lives, little things like that.
Hey, listen. I just wanted to say thank you. And that I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, you know, before. Everything at Abstergo. It was just... I wasn't ready.
It's okay.
No. Going through all that. Knowing that the Templars still exist, what they're planning.
What's done is done, Desmond. You're here now, and that's what matters.
Hey, Desmond. What's up?
Just wondering what your role is in all this.
I take care of Baby. It's my job to keep her up and running.
Baby? You mean the Animus?
Actually, I prefer Animus 2.0, since baby's twice as awesome as anything you'll find at Abstergo. The Templars might have deeper pockets than us, but they've got no ambition, no passion, no competitive edge. That's why, even with all their resources, anything they can do, I can do better. Faster, too. Anyway, take a seat when you're ready, and we can get started. I just need to make a few more adjustments.
So how does this work? Of course.
Deep breath.
Oh, what are you, a tiny child?
Sean!
Well...
Here we go.
Insieme per la vittoria! Insieme! Silenzio, my friends! Silenzio! Grazie. Do you know what brings us here tonight? Honor. Vieri de Pazzi slanders my family's name and forces his own miseries upon us. If we...
Enough of your nonsense, Grullo!
Buonasera, Vieri. We were just talking about you. I'm surprised to see you here. I thought the Pazzi hired others to do their dirty work.
It's your family that cries for guards when there's trouble, Cotardo. Afraid to handle things yourself?
Your sister seemed quite satisfied with the handling I gave her earlier.
Uccidetelo!
Behind you!
Federico! What are you doing here?
I wanted to see if baby brother had finally learned how to fight.
Oh. And?
You have style. But endurance is what counts. Let's see how many of them you can ruin before they get the best of you. Hold on.
What? You almost won this.
Your lip.
Just a scratch.
Let the doctor decide.
It's not necessary. Besides, I have no money for this doctor of yours.
Wasted it on women and wine, huh?
I'd hardly call it wasted. Give me some florins then. Or else you done the same.
Search them. There's bound to be something in the pocket.
One particular Halloween, when my friends Ryan, Carl, and I wanted to go exploring, apparently the town barred off every window on the first floor of the building. Security of the perimeter was also ramped up drastically. We found out the hard way after cutting through the woods and seeing security telling a mob of teens to go home. We didn't give up there, though. We snuck around the perimeter through the woods to another side with no people. Then we hopped the fence and started looking for a way in. That's when we found out that all the windows had been barricaded with carbon steel bars. We heard commotion all around us, but managed to stay under the radar. We didn't want to give up, though. Through our determination to find a way in, Rye spotted one window that wasn't boarded up with steel, but rather wood planks. We all had boots on, so kicking the plank in seemed plausible. However, the window was simply too high to kick up at, so Carl and I lifted Rye and actually used him and his boots as a sort of battering ram. The wood was wet and apparently rotted, so it actually snapped rather easily. After that, we simply ripped off the remainder of the wood, and boom, we had our way in. We had to hurry, though, before security might see. We gave Rye a boost up since he's the shortest,
Get out of here before the guards
then
arrive.
Carl and I leaped up to the ledge and squeezed in. There was junk and debris everywhere, so I took some long, flat piece of wood and covered the window with it to hide our way of entry. After that, we were all alone in a giant abandoned psych ward to explore on Halloween. Carl brought a few cans of spray paint in his backpack that we planned to use. First, we had to find a good spot to use them.
Hurry, Ezio. The sooner we're done with the doctor, the sooner we can sleep.
It was also weird stepping out from the cold, windy outside with the commotion and yelling going on to the scarily dead, silent interior. We planned on going to the top to possibly get to the roof. So we looked around for the stairs, going through the dead, silent hallways. It really seemed like we were the only ones who found a way inside. We eventually found the stairs and climbed like 10 half flights of stairs to, I guess, the 6th floor. However, there was one more floor, the roof level, but the stairs in the hall we were in didn't lead up there. So we had to begin our search for the separate stairs to the roof level. As we were in a long, creepy corridor,
Ben provato,
there
doctor.
was suddenly a huge bang down the hall.
Fratelli Auditori, why am I not surprised?
But the hallway was too long to
Quite
truly
a
see
mess of
anything
yourself,
while we
you
were down
got
there.
It's nothing, really.
You must help him.
We tried to stay
That pretty face is his only asset.
Fuck it.
check the whole hallway, then turn down some.
There we are. Now get out.
A little after turning a corner, there was a crack in a piece of wood behind me. Since I was the only one who
This way.
noticed it. And right there was someone peeking their head from around the corner and looking at us. But when I noticed them, they disappeared down the other hall. I called out, "Yo." Not really sure if it was directed to my friends, to the person I just saw, or both.
Quite a
Friend
night.
stopped and looked back.
Indeed.
We went back to the corner. of
Only
the
wish
hall
they
and
were
sat
all
down
as
and
much
looked down
fun.
that other hallway.
Oh,
The guy I
wait.
saw wasn't there.
They are.
My friends didn't know whether I was joking or not. But at
We
least
should
now
head
I knew
home,
no one
Ezio.
was there.
Father's sure to be wondering where we've gone.
Yes.
Into a part of the hall
I'd
where
rather
90%
avoid a
of the
lecture.
floor was missing.
Up
And
for a
there's a
little
very small
race
strip
then?
still left
To
intact.
where?
Roof
I
of that
insisted
church.
we were going over that. Volunteered to go first. After looking down the hole and realizing it wasn't that much of a drop,
On the count
I
of
was
three.
okay with it.
Uno,
I dropped into what appeared to be
due,
a bathroom,
tre.
or at least what once was a bathroom. Across, we
Baby
passed
brother
up the
still
front of
has
our
much
shoes
to
the
learn.
ground, grabbed onto a pipe that ran up the upper wall as support. I crossed
Come
last.
on,
Two
Calcaruga.
friends apparently didn't wait for me, because they disappeared down the hall as I called for them to wait. I then slowly started to cross the extremely narrow bridge between the two sides of the hole. Suddenly, I felt something grab the back.
Come on, then. This way.
Where are you
First, I
going?
thought it was one of my friends messing
You'll
with
see.
me. But that didn't make sense. They couldn't have gotten down there so quickly. I had no free hands to be holding my flashlight out. My friends were already gone down the hall, so I was almost in complete darkness and couldn't see who or what was trying to pull me down into that hole. I screamed for my life, so loud it could probably be heard throughout the building. My friends came rushing back.
It is a good life we lead, brother.
The grip on my leg was released. There was a sound of running from down
Never
below.
change.
And may it never change
Fight
us.
the guy. Didn't even look down there to see how he could have reached me, or if he was even still there. I just forced my friends to come with me all the way down the stairs back to the first floor. And then we had another battle. Then I got in. There was only that one window which wasn't barred up with steel. The blocks of wood.
All right, then. Enough of that. We really should head home. Let's go.
Wait.
What?
Felt like we were navigating a maze down there.
Ezio, let Christina sleep.
There will be time enough for that. Later.
See that face
Ah.
peering from another corner. And it happened. Since I was now the one leading the three of us, I was the first to see it. At the end of the hall we were running down, there was that person, hiding half his body behind the wall. This time, as opposed to last time, however, you could actually see that he was wearing a mask. Is it the same person who tried grabbing me through that hole? I don't know, but I still don't doubt it. We turned the other way and ran. We didn't stop running until we finally found that window we entered through. Climbing out was easier than climbing in. By the time we got outside, it seemed most of the commotion going on outside was gone.
Vieri. Better
Security seemed
hide.
to have kicked most of the people off the premises.
Keep looking! He couldn't have gotten far!
Security guard and warned them of a potential psychopath in the building, but that would risk us getting busted. So instead, we ran back through the woods to the car. The rest of the night, we hung out in a parking lot. That was our 2016 Halloween.
Fact. Most people pay way too much to file their taxes. Oh, tickles. Also fact. Tax Act costs up to 50% less than TurboTax. Pretty cool, huh? So make the switch. File for less and get more with Tax Act.
My wallet is missing! Merda!
I consider myself to be a typical Main Street American. One thing that is different about me is that I have a big family. Not so common in America these days. I'm the proud father of 13 children. 8 are white and 5 adopted are black. My family is my greatest joy, and my life is dedicated to their well-being and happiness. I'm struggling right now because I generally don't know how best to support my black children through this tumultuous and painful period in our history. Some say I should get involved with the Black Lives Matter movement, while others say I should avoid it at all costs. To help me figure this out, I have some questions for the Black Lives Matter Global Network. Before asking, let me preface my questions with some background. In the summer of 2020, a peaceful BLM demonstration in my hometown of La Mesa, California, turned violent as protesters began rioting, looting, and setting fires. The next day, I took my 14-year-old black son downtown to help with the cleanup. As we walked past the charred remains of Chase Bank, I noticed the letters BLM graffitied onto a wall.
Dare you defy the dead!
It was unsettling, as if Black Lives Matter was claiming credit for the bank. I didn't want to believe that. Just as any parent who has adopted and biological children, I love them all the same. Obviously, I never want to see any of them wrongly accused, mistreated, or targeted because of their skin color. I would happily support any peaceful movement that helps to secure racial justice and equality. I also recognize the need for law and order. No community can survive, let alone thrive, without that. This is the source of my conflict and confusion. Is it possible for my family to support the Black Lives Matter movement while also supporting the police? I went to your website looking for answers.
A pleasure.
When I was 9 years old, my parents let me go trick-or-treating without them for the first time ever. I went with my best friend at the time, Mikey, who was also 9. We were to be back home by 9 o'clock the latest, though. I think it was getting close to that point when we were still out trick-or-treating. Trick-or-treating was a little worse in our town because properties were so big, so it meant more walking for less candy. We came to one house, which sat on a corner. It was isolated by a set of tall bushes. We rang the bell as usual. I still remember it all so clearly. You're about to find out just why that is, though. An older man opened the door, probably in his mid-50s, with thin grayish hair and a mustache. He asks what our costumes are, and talks down to us like we're 6 instead of 9. He asked us if we were with anyone else. He seemed surprised that our parents weren't with us. Then he opened the door completely to reveal some kind of obstacle course tunnel he'd set up in his living room. It was made of cardboard boxes and Halloween decorations.
He'd better not be looking for trouble. Come, friends! I've fresh caught leeches today.
An older man opens the door, probably in his mid-50s, thin grayish hair and a mustache. He asks what our costumes are, and talks down to us like we're 6 instead of 9. He asked us if we were with anyone else. He seemed surprised that our parents weren't with us. Then he opened the door completely to reveal some kind of obstacle course tunnel he'd set up in his living room. It was made of cardboard boxes and Halloween decorations. Admittedly, it looked cool, and when he said if we wanted to get our candy, we'd have to make it through the obstacle course. It was very tempting. Mikey and I looked at one another and said okay. The man told us to come in, but he didn't look at us as he said it. Instead, he looked outside as he slowly shut the door. The bulb into that tunnel made out of boxes burst. Mikey followed after me. It was really dark inside of this tunnel, since the man had only some dim orange Halloween lights on in the room. There were fake spider webs and other Halloween toys scattered throughout the box tunnel. It was actually really big and well put together, because we struggled to find the way to the other end. When we did, it led to a small room, also lit up by large Halloween lights. There was a note in this room, pointing to a door, saying, "Candy down there." Mikey went to open the door, revealing stairs to the basement. There was more orange light down there. The man was nowhere to be seen, though. Me and Mikey started making our way down the stairs. When we got to the bottom, we saw nothing but a big, empty basement. Then, the door above us slammed shut. We went back up the stairs to try and open it, but it was locked. We didn't know what to do other than cry for help. But we stopped when we heard the doorbell ring upstairs. It rang repeatedly, actually. We listened by the basement door to hear anything. We heard what sounded like the front door opening. So we started screaming at the top of our lungs. There was a commotion outside the basement. 2 men yelling at each other. But the door in front of us unlocked and opened. A man and a woman came up to us. The woman hugged us and told us to follow them out of the house. We followed the couple through the living room, passing the man in the corner of his room, standing over his freakish creation. The husband called the man a sick freak as we left the house. The couple took us to their house, where the husband called the cops and the wife stayed with us, asking questions like what the man said to get us inside of his house. Apparently, they'd seen us go into the man's house because they live across the street. The cops arrived. There was an overwhelming amount of evidence for him to be arrested and tried. course, at the age of 9, we didn't understand the depth of the situation. Looking back now, we're all happy that those neighbors came to our rescue. Justice was served that night.
None can beat his prices or the freshness of his stock. Stati attenti tutti. Tutti wine merchants will not be satisfied into the purchase. Please move it before the evening procession of Santa Croce.
Have you ever been declined for a credit card due to poor credit? That was Self. It's a new way to build credit and get a credit card. Self helps you establish payment history before your credit security deposit. As you pay into your account, your payments are reported to multiple credit bureaus while you work to become eligible for the card. And after a few months, you can gain access to your own Visa credit card. The best part is, you don't need a credit score to get started. Download the app today so you can build the credit you need to get the things you really want.
Halloween has been my least favorite holiday ever since I graduated college and got my own place. I hated the idea of strangers coming up to my house with their kids and asking for candy all day, but I dealt with it with a smile on my face. My property is big, but it doesn't have any fences, and times in the past I'd seen kids fight each other with silly string in my yard. Hell, I've even had kids teepee and silly string my house. One year, though, late at night, past the hours where the bulk of trick-or-treaters were out, I got another ring from the doorbell, and my dog Mika started going crazy, barking as she had been doing all day. I opened the door to a person in a full-body gorilla costume. Only the face of the gorilla was freaky looking. It was a costume made to look scary. He didn't say trick-or-treat, he just held up a small plastic bag that was filled with some candies. Not a lot. Since it was close to the end of the night and I had a lot of candy left, I dumped a lot of it into his bag and waved goodbye. He didn't speak any words to me, though, as he just stood on my stoop, slowly going through the bag, looking at the candies I just gave him. As I shut the door halfway, I stopped and continued to watch him as he looked up to me, but didn't say anything. I asked if he wanted more, but he didn't shake his head or respond or anything. He kept looking at me weirdly, so I just shut the door and locked it. I wasn't in the mood to be playing games. Plus, what he was doing was extremely unsettling. I went back downstairs to my den to continue watching the movie that I had on. That's when I heard something fall outside.
Hey.
The back door was right next to my couch, so I got back up and took like 5 steps to look outside.
Grosera.
With the back patio light on, I could see a rake that had been leaning on a pole had fallen. Given how I left it sitting, it was weird for it to have fallen on its own. Being Halloween, I did feel the need to go out and investigate. I threw on my slides, went outside to pick up the rake first of all. It was not windy out at all, so it shouldn't have fallen on its own. And I noticed the door to my shed was cracked open. I have a huge shed in my backyard where I store all of my outdoor equipment. I went over to take a look inside. As big as the shed is, the lights haven't worked in there for years. So I had to use the light from my phone screen on full brightness as a flashlight of sorts. I didn't know what I was expecting to find. I certainly wasn't expecting to find a gorilla mask sitting on a big box. I knew right away. The light from the phone screen only traveled so far, but I still dared walk further into the shed until I saw him in the corner. There was the person in the gorilla suit, only now he had his mask off. I stepped a little closer, realized he was facing the wall, just standing motionless. He was also not a kid, rather some old, terrifying looking man.
That's disgusting.
I didn't know if he heard or saw me yet, so I started backing away slowly. But even though I didn't make a sound, his head suddenly turned to face me. It nearly made me shit myself or have a heart attack. I ran back outside and slammed the shed door shut behind me. I then ran back to my back house door and heard the door to the shed open with a lot of force. I didn't look back, just went inside and locked the door. Then, of course, I called the police to report a trespasser on my property. It figures, however, by the time the cops arrived, the guy in the gorilla suit was gone, mask and all. All they could do was assure me they'd be on the lookout for someone in a gorilla suit. Then they went on their way. After that, I didn't have much interest in finishing the movie, so I went upstairs and called it a night. That night in bed, I did wake up to Mika barking downstairs though, so I left my room to see where she was. She was in the den, by the back door, barking ferociously. I took a quick look outside, without letting Mika out with me, but I didn't see anyone, and the shed door was still shut. Still, I felt creeped out being out in that yard that night, so I hurried back in and brought Mika up to sleep in my room with me. I fell asleep, not without hearing Mika growling slightly occasionally. It freaked me out a lot. The next morning and ever since, life has been completely normal. That was by far the scariest Halloween I've ever had.
I sought care both with insurance and without insurance, and I want people to understand and to know that there are options out there. There is a program called the Ryan White Care Act, and it is basically like an offset of insurance, specifically for individuals living with HIV. So that access to care that someone may not have because they don't have health insurance, Ryan White fills that gap. Ryan White has a program called the AIDS Drug Assistance Program, or ADAP. And the AIDS Drug Assistance Program is what pays for the medication. The federal government takes care of that cost to make sure that individuals living with HIV have access to the care that they need to survive. A lot of times people living with HIV may have financial issues or financial concerns or living situations that may not be ideal. But because of those things, the Ryan White program helps to address a lot of them through supportive services like peer navigators, like housing assistance. Any individual who's experiencing issues with getting into care or finding medication or because you don't have insurance, that's something that we don't want you to be discouraged by. You can get into care whether you have insurance or not. To find services near you, go to greaterthan.org.
Find your joy outdoors this season. Shop curated collections and pick and choose items that match your style. Discover everything you need to create your own. Find joy in your own backyard. Shop the World Market Virtual Outdoor Store.
It was my first year of university. I had just finished unpacking all of my stuff into my room, and my family had just left. Later on that same day, my roommate finally arrived, and right from the get-go, I knew this kid was the most socially inept person I'd ever met. I introduced myself as Dan, sticking out my arm for a handshake. He paused, looked down at my arm as if he didn't understand at first, then laughed and went, "Oh," and gave me an almost dead fish handshake. I had to ask him for his name since he didn't even tell me when we shook hands. He was Dale. I tried to make small talk, but he just answered my questions with yes or no's, occasionally awkwardly laughing or smiling. For 10 minutes we were both just sitting on our beds on our laptops and not talking to each other.
And you put it on my dick.
I requested to be placed with a different. Anyone would be better. I thought Dale was I met some of the other kids in the room, so that was good. I came back to my dorm after living around campus the first night to find Dale still in the same position he was in. I said, "What's up, Dale?" He didn't answer. Not to my surprise. It was 9:30. I didn't have anything to do, so I turned out the lamp on my side of the room and went to bed. I didn't actually fall asleep anytime soon. Dale was on his laptop until 3 in the morning. When he finally closed his laptop, I fell asleep pretty quickly. I woke up looking at him. The blinds to our room had been opened, and the moonlight now creeping into the room made everything visible, including Dale sitting on the side of his bed, looking at me. I sat up and rubbed my eyes and said, "Dale, what the hell are you doing?" I whispered back, "Sorry." laid down. The next morning, I woke up to find Dale had already gotten home. I felt like it was the first time he left the room. It was a Saturday, the first Saturday of the year, orientation and all the campus festivities. During the orientation, as my group was walking by the school gardens, we heard a couple of students ahead of me saying, "What is that kid doing there?" And I saw who they were talking about. It was Dale, literally sitting in the dirt behind a patch of bushes, rubbing the bark of a tree with his hand. The orientation leader didn't notice, otherwise I'm sure she would have said that. I just walked by, not saying anything, eventually telling the two kids I overheard that he was my roommate as a way to start a conversation, maybe make some friends. They apologized for me. None of us really knew if it was appropriate to laugh or not, but we did. I made friends with those two kids, and we made plans to get together that night. I also learned when I got back to my dorm that the school found another roommate for me. Things seemed to be turning around quickly for the better. I left the room that night to go meet up with the two kids I met. When I got back, Dale was sitting on the desk chair facing the door. I said, "Oh, hey, what's up?" He said nothing, very matter-of-factly. I sat down on my bed and opened my laptop. Realized I forgot to lock it. I also realized that all my emails had been erased. Emails I was pretty sure I didn't even read. A bunch of folders in mine had been erased. They all must have snooped through my laptop. When I asked him if he did, he responded no, very loudly, half a second after I even finished my question. I could read him like a book. This creepy kid was literally going through my computer when I was out. I knew he did it, but I didn't pursue it. I was ready to go to bed, so as I went into my bed to look for my pajamas, I felt like my clothing had been around as well. I knew I'd be out of there forever by tomorrow, so I didn't say anything. I woke up in the middle of the night with the sound of music. I sat up and saw Dale going through my bag. I turned the lamp on, this time confronting him about it. He played dumb, saying, "I think you have my toothbrush by mistake." It was the closest thing
¿Y el suéter negro, papi?
Negro.
Ajá. El negro de Royal Law. ¿Lo tiraste en el trabajo?
No.
Allá está.
The next day, I met my new roommate in the same building, and everything went
¿No lo
You-
trajiste?
You sure?
I'm 100% sure.
It was no social butterfly. It was miles better than Dale. We both turned off our lights and went to bed. For the third night in a row, I woke up at some off hour of the night questioning my dreams. There was a weird clicking noise. It wasn't consistent, but I'd hear it at least twice every 30 seconds. I got up, hoping to find something innocent, like a heavy bag putting pressure on the floorboard, or even a mouse. As I scoped out the room, I realized the sound was actually coming from the other side of the door. The nightlight in the common area was always on, so when I looked through the peephole, I was able to see the scalp of the person standing on the other side of our door. They were looking down, so I couldn't see their face, but now that I was paying attention, I realized the tiny clicking noises were actually coming from the doorknob. I was sure the person was trying to unlock the door. I dialed the number for the campus police department, and they showed up in under 5 minutes to the common, and only then did I feel it was safe to open. I found the officers to have Dale in cuffs. I had a feeling it was him. I told them everything, that he was my former roommate who was going through my stuff, so I switched dorms, only to find him trying to break into my new dorm. They took him away. I don't know what happened to him after that, but I never saw him again. Ether got suspended. I got through the rest of my years at university like anything else. However, the nightmarish experience I had with Dale still pops up in my head every now and then. I went to Binghamton University for 2 years. I quickly made a big group of friends there and we'd go out every weekend. One weekend on a Friday night in October, when my group didn't have any big plans together, me and 2 other close friends decided to hang out in the school nature preserve by the lake. There was this little clearing on the far side of the lake that was convenient for fires. Since it was so far from the view of the school or campus security, kids would sometimes, but not often, come here to smoke pot, drink, and do basically all the other drugs. It was a relatively unknown spot on campus by most. We liked that about it. Tonight we just brought a bunch of beers, lit a fire, and hung out, having what we referred to at the time as a road chat. As the night progressed, time seemed to pass quicker as the alcohol began to take effect. Eventually it got to the point where we were all laughing so hard that one of my two friends was on the floor rolling in the leaves. That was when my other friend stopped laughing at me. We all perked up and listened, and heard the crunching of the leaves and branches in the distance.
I've seen him before.
Raju! There! There!
It wasn't intended for kids to come through the woods to catch kids doing drugs. We tucked the rest of the beers into the backpack. I was moderately drunk, so my paranoia was higher than usual. That was probably the case for all of us. The fire exposed us to anyone passing through the woods. But the thing is, this spot was so unknown and far from campus that it was rare to find anybody else that deep into the woods. It sounded like just one person in the distance. The sound of a tree branch snapping not too far away freaked all of us out. None of us were really the confrontational ones from our group, so we were lacking that one person who would have the confidence to stand up and yell out to whoever was out there. Instead, we all just sat in silence, shushing each other. We heard what seemed to be somebody or something circling us, or at least walking around in a C shape around our little campsite. It literally started to feel like we were in the movie The Blair Witch Project, because these sounds in the near distance, like cracking tree branches and leaves crunching on the ground, kept echoing over to our campsite. We laughed about it at first, but I personally soon became terrified of who or what it could be. Out of the blue, a huge thud made all three of us jump. At first I didn't understand, even though I saw what caused the sound. It took me a few seconds to digest the fact that a branch had been thrown into the center of our little fire site. One of my two friends took off running, while my other friend and I sat behind, looking at each other, half laughing, half concerned. I feel like we didn't know yet if this was some kind of joke or not. Then, my friend let out a scream of pain as he was struck in the face by another tree branch. I grabbed the backpack, helped my friend up off the floor, and we hauled ass back in the direction of our dorm. When we made it to the road separating the nature preserve from our dorm, we stopped to catch our breath. But whoever was out there proved to be following us when we heard footsteps coming closer to the road. We continued to run back to the dorm, and when we got back to our floor, we found our other friend in his room already. He looked out of his room window down to the woods. There was someone pacing back and forth by the woods, and every time a car passed, they would walk back into the woods. Eventually, whoever it was went back into the woods for good, to never be seen again by us. We continued our drinking session in the dorm room, and within 10 minutes, we were all laughing about it. It wasn't until the next morning that we all realized how terrifying that experience actually was. We never really went back into the woods past dark after that. This takes place during the first week of school, my freshman year at the University of Iowa. I was just starting to get comfortable with my roommate. He was dedicated to the idea of rushing a fraternity, and rush week was starting next week, but the parties were starting Thursday of the first week. My roommate didn't want to go alone because it would be harder to meet people that way, so he wanted me to go. I happily agreed to go with him. Even though I had no interest in rushing a fraternity, I still had intentions to go to parties. After all, I was attending a party school. My roommate wanted to go to one frat party on Thursday, and then parties at different frat houses on Friday and Saturday. On this Thursday night, we were headed to perhaps one of the lowest parties. Pretty sure it was an underground one, too. But his logic in attending was to have a backup frat in case the higher ones wouldn't give him a bid. The frat house was really far from campus, a much more slummy downtown area. We pulled up to a corner house, and if it weren't for the blasting music and cars parked there, we would never get to
Geraldi could see this.
It literally looked like they settled with the first house they found. We knocked on the door to immediately be greeted by some short, chubby guy in a white t-shirt over a solo cut. His shirt had sweat stains by his armpits and mid-belly area. He told us to come right in. The party itself was in a horribly dimly lit room with probably 50 guys bunched up.
That you! Got it!
It was hot as hell in there. I think I saw maybe 2 girls. The party eventually all gave one little more all giving off antisocial vibes. Eventually I waited for my roommate to get ready to leave, but a huge group of guys by the door made us decide to wait a little longer to avoid the awkwardness of the party. I continued to drink the cheap beers they were serving. I think I downed 5 cups before I could feel the buzz. A heavy guy approached me with a tiny bottle in his hand and handed it to me, smirking and saying, "That'll get you shit-faced." I think
Abomination! How dare you defile the dead!
He just watched me as if he were waiting for me to drink it. So I did. I was maybe 2 shots full of this hard liquor. The guy then started making conversation with me. Every time I hinted that I was trying to get away, he would try to pull me further into this otherwise one-sided conversation. It started to get really boring pretty soon. I remember feeling dizzy all of a sudden, and the room seemed to be getting darker. That was the last thing I remember before waking up in the guitar room, laying in a bed. I could hear the sound of music muffled behind closed doors, so I knew I was still in the frat house. It was a very dark room. However, I could still make out certain furniture in the room, and a small closet door. Not much else, though. Even over the blaring music, I heard the sound of a plastic bag being crunched from the closet, as if somebody had stepped on it by mistake. I ran out of that room and down the stairs back to the overcrowded area. I found my roommate and pushed him out the front door, past the group of guys still standing in a circle right next to me. During the car ride back to the house, I told my roommate I was drugged. He almost called the cops, but I said it would be foolish and pointless. My roommate then asked me one more question. Was I taking advantage of it? I didn't feel any type of pain. My clothes were all still on the scene, so I assumed. When I did a time check, I realized that I'd been out for 10 minutes before. Whatever the guy gave me must have been done or something. That was my college experience. And it remains to be my scariest experience. I had a single dorm my first semester of sophomore year. It was in the corner of the floor, kind of secluded from the rest of the dorm, since it was in its own little section. You had to turn a corner to even see the door. It was nice because I'd be able to still talk with friends on my floor, invite people over to my room, and have privacy when it was time to do homework or go to sleep. A few weeks into the semester, while studying for a bio exam, the silence was interrupted by a noise. It took me a bit to realize it was a light tapping on the door. It was so light that I almost didn't even hear it. I yelled, "Come in," but the door didn't open, so I got up to open it. Nobody was there. I walked around the corner to look down the hall. Nobody. Somebody was obviously messing with me. I went back to my bed and continued studying, this time leaving the door open. Nobody came back. The next night, a few minutes after shutting the lamp in my bedroom to go to bed, the tapping on the door returned, only this time it was much louder, more of a knocking sound. I called out, "Who is it?" and again the knocking stopped and nobody answered. I got out of my bed quickly, opened the door, to see my small private corridor was void of any people. Again, I ran the 10 feet from my door to the corner to look down the main hallway of the floor. Nobody. The next morning, I asked some of the other kids in the dorm if they had been messing with me. Everyone said no. The next night, I woke up after having been asleep for 3 hours. Someone was knocking on my door again, this time louder than ever. I had trouble deciding whether to open the door or not this time. With a bout of courage, I hopped up and opened the door. Nobody was there as I was expecting, but this time I full-on sprinted down the tiny corridor isolating my room, and when I turned the corner, I saw the back of somebody disappearing behind the far corner on the opposite side of the hallway. I ran as fast as I could down the hallway, and as I turned to the next hallway where I saw the person a few seconds earlier, I saw a door at the end of the hallway shutting. It wasn't a dorm room, it was a bathroom. I felt like I was ready to confront whoever this Joker was, so I pushed open the bathroom door with force. The light was off. I turned it on expecting to see somebody hiding there, but I didn't see anyone. My first instinct was to check the 2 bathroom stalls, which were both shut. I got on my hands and knees and looked under the 2 stalls. 2 heavy black boots could be seen from underneath one of the stall doors. I took a deep breath and pushed the stall open. I was confused. There were the boots sitting on the floor, but no person to wear them.
He seems quite well armed.
And then I heard a creepy giggling noise.
Merda, he's getting away!
Not a feminine or childlike one. It was the kind of laughing that I could only imagine to be that of a really old, crazy man. For some reason, my confidence was gone, and I was scared shitless. Therefore, I ran back to my room and shut the door. I hopped back in my bed and started texting every friend I had. Of course, everybody was asleep, though. The knocking happened one more time that night. I ignored it. It went on for about 30 seconds before whoever that person was finally gave up. I spoke to everybody on my floor the next day. Nobody else heard any knocking, and everybody swore they weren't pranking me. Everybody seemed sincere. I don't know why this person chose to harass me, or who this person was. Judging by the boots and the laughing I heard, this was an older man, though, and that disturbs me.
We sending niggas to hell. You know the route that we going is stay there in jail. A nigga get shot in his face if he try to get one up on me. I can't take a L. I just got rid of a bitch on the way. I'm trying to get rid of the smell. I just got rid of some shit on the way. I'm trying to get rich off a scub. They like to see why you still in the trenches. I still got the dope and I got...
A few months ago, I treated my girlfriend to a vacation in Paris. We stayed at some hotel called Hotel Atmospheres. My job allows me to work remotely from my laptop at my own hours. So at some points during our couple days there, I would sit in the lounge of the hotel by the Wi-Fi area to get my work done. My phone started to ring. It was my girlfriend calling me. As I picked up the phone, I went to the nearby room where the coffee was and poured myself a cup. My girlfriend was calling me from the room, talking about the things we should do that day. When I walked back to the lounge area where I left my laptop, I got a sickly feeling when I realized it wasn't there anymore. I went first thing to the lady at the front desk to ask her if she'd seen anyone leave the lounge area with a laptop. She apologized and said she hadn't seen anyone. I asked her to check the cameras, to which she responded with there not being any cameras in the lounge area, as she was also not in control of the footage that the cameras caught. She would have to get in contact with her manager, who was not working that day. She offered I submit a lost or stolen property form. I was absolutely disgusted with the service, planned on having a word with the manager the next day. I had no choice but to go back to our room and angrily vent to my girlfriend. She tried calming me down, saying there was nothing we could do about it, that it was best we just go. Angry as I was, I had to accept that she had a point. We both turned off notifications on our phones so we wouldn't be distracted, something we usually did on vacation. Then we went out, explored a great amount of the city, did a little back to our hotel late at night. It wasn't until we finally crashed into bed that I opened my phone to check for new emails and texts and such, since I couldn't do that on my laptop now. I was going through my email. I realized every single email I had received that day was opened. This included emails from work and a couple relatives. I started to panic because I knew how much delicate information I had in not just my email account, but my whole computer, which was signed in when I left it. I basically had all my personal information saved on that computer. including home address, phone numbers, personal pictures, passwords, credit card info, bank account info. I was a fool for leaving it unattended to for even a minute. I immediately changed all the passwords to my emails and other important accounts. That didn't matter for what was about to come, though. After opening my messages app to check my texts, since I hadn't been all day, I noticed text from an unknown number. It was a bunch of pictures that were saved on my computer. Dead, personal pictures that I wouldn't ever want anyone to see. Pictures I didn't want to take. Pictures of the hotel hallway and a hotel door. It was our hotel. Now, where is he from? There was also a picture of me standing at the front desk talking to the lady about my missing laptop. It was taken from behind the glass door at the entrance of the hotel. Under all the pictures was a text saying, I have all of your info, including your address. This was sent using an untraceable phone number. Don't bother contacting the police. The rest of the message basically demanded I pay a certain amount of Bitcoin to a specific Bitcoin wallet address, or else. It literally said, or else. I'm not even fabricating this. I didn't know what else to do besides show my girlfriend the messages, as well as the embarrassing pictures. She started to panic more than me, and she honestly just made me even more tense. I left the room to go to the bathroom to think. He was asking for $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. But even if I paid that, I had no reassurance that this person wouldn't share those pictures, my laptop, God knows whatever or else meant. I decided I wouldn't pay the ransom. My girlfriend agreed with my decision when I went back to bed. Of course, I was not tired at all anymore. Neither was my girlfriend. We sat up, leaning on the headboard of the bed, talking, thinking, and worrying for a couple hours. Then there was a knock at the window of our hotel room. We both gasped. Well, my girlfriend more so let out a short scream. I turned off the lamp so that whoever was out there couldn't see in. I also shut the shade completely. I didn't bother trying to look out there to see who it was. I assured my girlfriend we were safe, though. She whispered we should call the cops for informing the front desk. I told her we would if the problem persisted. And then told her to go to sleep. Meanwhile, I stood in the middle of the room watching over her, while also looking back at the window. I got a text. I looked at my phone, and it said, I'm looking into your room right now. I'm not playing games. Then there was another knock at the window. I decided to just grow a pair for a couple seconds and open the shade to see who was out there. I pulled the shade open. I couldn't see who it was. There was someone standing on the other side of the glass looking in. My girlfriend screamed. I told her to shh as I pulled it back shut. We packed our things and went to the front desk, telling the lady about the whole situation, requesting another room on one of the upper level floors. She said she would alert the authorities, gave us a room card to another room on the 3rd floor. For the rest of the night, we slept close together. Well, I didn't sleep. I was awake all night. Most impressive. Morning came, and the manager was in. So she took a look at the footage from the previous night. And of course, some guy with a baseball cap covering 90% of his face went into the lounge as soon as I left him to get coffee, and then walked out with my laptop. There was only one camera that actually caught the man in the act. She said she would forward all video footage with that man over to the police. We were out of there. I blocked the number that was texting me. I had to accept defeat. I didn't want to think about it anymore. There was nothing I could do about where those pictures would end up or some random person having my address. I canceled my credit cards and changed my passwords. There wasn't much else that we could do. What really motivated me to share this story with the internet was the fact that 3 days ago, I got a letter in the mail without a return address. It was addressed to me. It was a short, straight-to-the-point note saying, I hope you haven't forgotten. I have all of your information still. It was a horrible reminder that someone out there with bad intentions has not only my address, but my pictures, my phone number, and my name. I've been sleeping with one eye open these past few nights. If anything happens, I will update.
Next week's public mass with the Cardinal will have to be canceled due to a small outbreak of plague.
There was a time it
Pray for his
good friend Ashley
recovery
lost
and the
her
confinement of
her best guy friend. So she hit me up on her sister's phone when she realized that whoever had her phone was reading her messages but not responding.
Christina!
Who's there?
Me!
Oh, it's you. I should have known.
May I come in?
Fine, but only for a minute.
A minute is all I need.
Indeed.
Well, wait.
I sent a text saying, please return my friend's lost phone. Within seconds,
Come in.
it's like the person read my text, but they didn't respond. So a minute later, I sent a more aggressive follow-up text.
Oh, it's you.
Christina! Christina! Elia, your tutor will be here soon. Come, my daughter. Is it really so terrible that... Figlio d'un cane! What is this?
Perdonate, messere! Chiedo venia!
I'll kill you!
No, that's not necessary.
Guards! Guards! Voglio la sua testa! No!
There's really no need for violence.
Me che vergogna!
May your twisted soul swiftly find its way to... All who need aid are welcome here. Truly, I am blessed.
You should feel better now, but take care in future.
I'm fine that you have joined my workshop. We are offering you some of the most glorious gifts.
I'm here most days should you require my aid.
Very soon. Now in
If we get a set of the car, it should be
What?
una camioneta. Like not too big, not too small. Like the size of your mom. No, not that kind, but the size of your mom. Hay unas bonitas.
Good morning, Father.
Come with me.
Something
Oh,
wrong?
wanna come?
Up to you.
Do you think me blind and deaf, son? I know all about your fight with Vieri di Pazzi last night. And then this little visit to Christina. Your behavior is unacceptable.
The other night on the highway with the
It reminds me of myself when I was your age. I assume these misadventures won't interfere with your work.
you sell the PS5?
No, padre. Avete la mia parola.
I've prepared some documents here for Lorenzo di Medici to review. I need them delivered to him.
With haste, father.
Return to me when it's done.
¿Van a pagar $10 a la semana? ¿O cuánto te dijo?
I've done as requested and completed my investigation into the Milan incident. I can confirm for you that it extends far beyond the satisfaction with Duke Gagliazzo's forces of war. It is my belief that other parties, desirous of far greater gains, manipulated events in such a way as to achieve their goals without being revealed themselves. Lampugnani, Olgiati, and Visconti are guilty of the crime, to be sure. And they have met fitting ends for their betrayal. But several other noble families are implicated as well, our own Francesco de Pazzi among them. Their cause and motive is not yet clear to me, but initial findings indicate a plan, the scope of which is sure to disturb you. Best we continue this conversation in person, as I am hesitant to put my suspicion to paper. Reply with a place and time, and I will meet you there. I have also ordered Francesco be held by the Gonfaloniere until we can clear up this matter. Yours in confidence, Giovanni.
This is Chuck's. Ready? Que agarraron ayer lo de la aseguranza de la casa, ¿tú dices?
Ah, ben trovato. How are you? Come sempre. I have a letter for Messer Lorenzo.
I'll see that he receives it when he returns.
Returns?
They're going to Villa Careggi, I'm afraid, and not expected back for at least another day.
I'll let my father know.
Keep up the good work.
Bischero.
You worry too much, Giovanni. Francesco di Pazzi is in prison. The threat is ended.
Hello, son. You remember my friend Uberto?
Good morning, Gonfaloniere Alberti.
To you as well, young man.
I trust you delivered the message.
Si, padre. But it seems Lorenzo is out of town.
I did not anticipate this.
What does it matter? So you wait another day or two.
Listen, your mother and sister have been looking for you. I'll need you again in a little while, but for now, see if you can't help them.
Are you sure?
Yes, now if you excuse us.
Good to see you, Ezio.
7:53, okay?
Huh?
7:53.
11?
Get this to its destination fast. Really fast. I'll pay you well.
What's the point of this danza del diavolo?
Oh, grazie.
Suppose I should find a way to stay in shape.
Stay away. Stop! He's here! You don't need to kill me. I'm not ready. Why not sup with me? I've some of the best.
Well, yes, not fair, is it?
Nothing on me. Of course, I understand. Another time. A pleasure. Come again.
Guardate che meraviglia queste spigole!
Why would anyone carry on like that?
Usurer!
Hey, Ezio!
Buongiorno, Ezio.
Buongiorno a voi, madre. Come state?
Sto bene. And you? Still recovering from last night?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Of course not. Anyway, I have an errand to run. I'd like you to join me.
Con piacere.
Come, it's not far from here. How about your fight with Vieri?
What fight?
Per piacere. Let's not play this game.
He spoke ill of us. I could not allow him to continue.
I'm sure he's having a hard time dealing with the accusations against his father. Francesco Di Pazzi is many things, and none of them good. But even I never suspected he'd be capable of murder.
What will happen to him?
I imagine there will be a trial.
Will father speak at it?
He'll have to. He's the one with the evidence.
Still, I wish there was another way.
You've nothing to fear. Everyone wants justice done. It is an unfortunate state of affairs, but it will pass. Here we are. Hello, Leonardo.
Madonna Maria.
This is my son, Ezio.
Molto onorato.
L'onore è mio.
Let me go and fetch the paintings. I'll be right back.
He's very talented.
Immagino.
Self-expression is vital to understanding and enjoying life. You should find an outlet.
I have plenty of outlets.
I meant
Mother.
Back to your house then.
Si, si. Ezio, help Leonardo, will you?
So Ezio, what do you do?
He's been working for his father.
Ah, you're to be a banker.
For now. And you? Art, was it?
Truth be told, it's been difficult for me to settle. Painting is nice, but I often feel like my work lacks, I don't know, a purpose. Does that make sense? I'd rather contribute more practically, more directly. Architecture, perhaps, or anatomy. I'm not content merely to capture the world. I want to change it.
Oh, Leonardo. I have no doubt you'll go on to do great things.
Vi ringrazio, Madonna. That's kind of you.
your help, son. Don't let me keep you from your other duties.
It was nice to meet you, Ezio. I hope our paths cross again.
Anch'io. Hey, Claudia. How are you?
Bene.
You shouldn't keep things from me.
It's Duccio.
What of him?
I think he's been unfaithful.
Who told you this?
The other girls. I thought they were my friends.
Harpies. You're better off without them.
I loved him.
No, Claudia. You only thought you did.
He should suffer for what he's done.
Wait here. I'll go have a word with him.
Am I dreaming this?
Duccio! It's beautiful!
Nothing but the best for you, amore mio.
But what of Claudia? I thought you'd been promised to her.
My father said I could do much better than in Auditore.
Ah! Birbante! Come, let us walk a bit.
What? I had something else in mind.
Oh, Duccio.
Hey, lurido porco!
Ezio, my friend. Ah, ma che ti piglia?
You insult my sister, parading around with this puttana.
What are you talking about?
I saw the gift you gave her, or the things you said.
Maybe your sister shouldn't be so stingy with her virtù.
You broke her heart.
Ha! And now I'm going to break your face. You Auditore is all talking, but when it comes time for action, ha!
You'll regret ever opening your mouth.
I could have taught your sister a great many things. She's lucky to have had someone like me.
Bastardo! Stay away from my sister!
Price is so low, you won't believe it.
Well, aren't you a funny monkey?
Take a look. I promise you'll be satisfied.
What would make a man perform? Ah, of course. A woman must be involved. Outrun anyone in this distretto. I hear you the best. Prove it.
Hi. My mama's in the house.
Break something, the idiots. Ride bene chi ride ultimo.
I may be a bit disorganized, but I... Oh no, my sweetie. Bear with me. Later then, yes? I'll find something by then, I'm sure.
Vitello, maiale, tutto freschissimo!
That faithless husband of mine is cheating. I know it, as do all the neighbors. Please teach him a lesson for me.
Provate le mie salsicce!
Devil, is he doing?
Alitas, alitas, alitas.
I'm not going to tell you one more time, baby.
Baby. You acting like it's already 8:30.
8:20, we have to be on the couch, not in the house.
Donato! She wins! I give up! That bitch! I mean, wonderful wife of mine! Ah, let go!